When John Stewart says something doesn't even deserve a taste, you better believe he's not talking about wine, he's talking about Meghan Markle's latest PR vanity project, As Ever Rose. Live on The Daily Show, John didn't just throw shade. He lit the entire vineyard on fire. With surgical precision and signature satire, he dismantled the Duchess of Delusion's newest attempt to repackage herself as a brand, a lifestyle, a voice, and this time, the public isn't just rolling their eyes. They're done. What was supposed to be Meghan's elegant return to the spotlight has become a full-blown embarrassment. And this time, no palace staff or PR consultant can clean it up. This wasn't playful banter. Stewart's roast was brutal, calling As Ever Rose a soulless echo of everything Hollywood thinks women want, but packaged by someone who doesn't even like being looked at without filters. The audience laughed, but it wasn't nervous laughter, it was relief. Relief that finally, someone mainstream is calling out what's been obvious for years. Meghan Markle's projects aren't about empowerment, or authenticity, or growth. They're about her, period. And this rose? It reeks of desperation. John's critique wasn't pulled out of thin air. The product launch itself was an overproduced, painfully staged event riddled with contradictions. Marketed as a clean and feminine alternative to the synthetic saturation of today's perfumes, As Ever Rose instead came off as another overhyped bottle of celebrity narcissism. Reviews from actual testers confirmed it. Words like flat, cheap, and unoriginal filled the feedback forms, with many stating that the scent smells like Meghan's brand. Pretty from afar, but exhausting up close. One critic from a respected lifestyle outlet even called it a fragrance that tries too hard to be soft. But the real blow came when Stewart exposed what many hadn't noticed. As Ever Rose was eerily similar in concept, tone, and presentation to other mid-tier celebrity fragrances from years past. Meghan, who once claimed she refuses to be put in a box, had essentially built her own, spray-painted it millennial pink, and demanded everyone admire her from inside it. John's takedown struck the very nerve she's tried to hide for years, the idea that underneath all the polished speeches and staged photos, there's nothing revolutionary happening. Just another former actress trying to stay relevant in a world that's moved on. And people have moved on. Social media, once divided between supporters and critics, has largely shifted into open mockery. TikTok creators posted side-by-side comparisons of As Ever Rose with budget air fresheners. Twitter or X, depending on your era, was ablaze with memes featuring Harry holding his nose. The message is clear. No one's buying the fairy tale anymore. Especially not when it's being sold in $150 bottles with Meghan's signature monogram etched in gold. Perhaps the most uncomfortable truth of all, one John Stewart boldly hinted at, is that Meghan's entire post-royal identity is unraveling. What was once considered a courageous stand against royal rigidity now reads as a carefully constructed grievance tour, monetized at every possible turn. She left the firm, claiming a need for freedom, privacy, and authenticity, yet here she is again, center stage, launching overpriced perfumes and attaching her name to anything she thinks will sparkle. And worse, she seems shocked that the world isn't clapping anymore. What Stewart did on The Daily Show was give the green light for public honesty. If he, a liberal darling and defender of justice, can roast Meghan without blinking, then surely the rest of the media no longer feels obligated to tread lightly. The gloves are off. Meghan is no longer untouchable. She's just another celebrity selling herself, but now with far less success. And far more people watching. The final nail? Sales projections for As Ever Rose were quietly revised downward just days after the roast aired. Industry insiders say retailers are concerned about customer interest and reevaluating shelf placement. That's corporate speak for, this thing is flopping. No amount of curated Instagram posts, Vogue interviews, or empowering hashtags can undo that. The people have spoken, and they're not buying the brand literally or figuratively. Meghan may have thought this fragrance would reframe her image, make her seem softer, more likable, more human. Instead, it confirmed what many already feared. This is someone who still doesn't understand the difference between being admired and being liked. And no amount of rose petals can cover the stench of that misunderstanding. In the end, John Stewart didn't destroy Meghan's fragrance, she did that herself. He simply pointed out what everyone else was too polite to say. And now, the rose has withered, the brand has cracked, and Meghan Markle, once again, finds herself exactly where she didn't want to be. Exposed, ridiculed, and entirely alone on stage. Because this wasn't just a failed product, it was a mirror. One she held up to the public expecting applause, but instead revealed the very image she's tried so hard to curate, falling apart under the weight of scrutiny. No amount of elegant packaging or over-rehearsed interviews could disguise the truth. As Ever Rose wasn't a love letter to womanhood, it was a self-written eulogy to credibility. A final grasp at relevance in a cultural moment that has already moved on without her. Even the silence from her celebrity allies is deafening. No glowing endorsements. No viral reels. No A-list support. Just a loud, echoing void, proof that even Hollywood's glitter can't blindfold the public forever. Stewart's roast wasn't just comedy. It was a warning shot. And Meghan? She didn't duck. She stood there, perfectly still, hoping her silence could shield her again. But this time, there's no hiding behind titles, trauma, or theatrics. This time, the audience is wide awake and they're not clapping. They're turning the page.